Aloha, everyone. Welcome back to Inspire Collective Online Peace. My name is Russ Kimura, where we interview Inspire Collective members, entrepreneurs, business owners, business professionals who are just making a difference in the marketplace and living out their faith while they do what they do. And so I'm excited today that we have my friend Stephanie with Uwal Nutrition that's going to share her journey, her story, and kind of what God's doing within her life through her business. So welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Hey, Russ. Glad to be here.
Great. Well, hey, Stephanie, tell us a little bit about, a little bit what you do and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah. I'm a clinical nutritionist, first of all. And what that is, because it sounds kind of weird, like, is it a nutritionist? Basically, I specialize. So what I specialize in is female hormones. Specifically, we do lab work, but I like to look at things from what's called a functional perspective, so tighter. My belief is that I love to get my patients healthy and well naturally without the use of drugs. So we try to use natural methods, lifestyle, diet, herbs, nutrients, etc. So the way I got into this, it's really kind of crazy because so my father had a business growing up.
Sure.
I'm the only child, like daughter of an entrepreneur, daddy's girl, if you will. Just loved watching him crush it. And I just wanted to sell and make money when I was little. I mean, I even had a street store,
Nice.
like a little Hello Kitty box.
Nice.
I'd take around and buy dollar store stuff and try to sell to the neighbors. So it started when I was 8.
Wow.
But yeah, but anyways, what had happened is out of high school, so when I was 20 years old, I opened up a warehouse. I'm from Houston on Harwin, which is our wholesale area. And actually a guy that I was dating at the time, we split this whole warehouse. He sold automotive parts. I sold health and beauty.
Okay.
And, I'm like, I really like this sales thing. Nothing to do with nutrition whatsoever. So fast forward, and I just knew, I don't know, my spirit wasn't in it. After a while, it was just I'm staying up late. I'm just trying to grind and make as much money as I can. But, no time for family. And I didn't feel connected, at the end of the day. I'm just what can I buy to make $1 on? So I tied a bow on that and closed it. And it was really hard for me because I was young and I was successful and I was making money.
Yeah.
And that was how I made my dad proud.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, I was he is going to be so impressed with me. He's going to love that I have this cool warehouse and, we're making all this cash money too. So
Cash money.
I love the cash money, and I'd be like, look, and my dad would come visit the shop and we had a Pomeranian, a shop dog. It was really cute. Chloe, miss you, girl. But anyways, what happened, so, I just knew in my spirit I had to cut this off.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm going to be really raw about it, I imported a ton of stuff from China.
Okay.
And a lot of it was just hair straighteners, curling iron, makeup, stuff I'd sell to cosmetologists. Sure. But one day I saw this brand name thing I could import from China. And I was like, oh, this is too good to be true. I'm like, this is that cheap? And I was doing the numbers and I'm like, man, I could wholesale this and make double the money.
Yeah.
Because truthfully, wholesale, you're supposed to be 20, 30% margin. I was making 100%.
Wow.
Double
Sure.
the money.
Sure.
So I started buying these things like crazy and selling them like crazy.
Okay.
But kind of the don't ask, don't tell. I'm like, it's really good, and they seem quality. And then, I'm like, are these replicas? Are these fake things?
Sure.
Now I was going to this special site that wasn't Alibaba. So I thought okay, I hit the gold mine. I'm just getting some factory or something. But what ended up happening, guys, and I'm just being honest and open with this because, okay, today I have a completely legit business. I'm super proud of it. But what ended up happening is I got $1 million lawsuit. Can you believe that? From Chi. You've heard of the hair straighteners?
Okay.
If you're out here watching Chi, I paid it. I mean, I didn't pay $1 million, but we're good. We're straight on that. But what ended up happening, so one day in the mail, I get this huge lawsuit. And I'm literally shaking, holding the paper. And I tell my boyfriend at the time, I'm like, did you see this says $1.7 million or something insane? I'm like, how are we going to pay this? What are we going to do? Because when Christmas would come, I would order hard.
Sure.
You're like, you're like, I didn't know it was going this
Oh, this is great.
No, but anyways, what happened was, my stuff was getting caught up in customs. And I'm like, man, come on. I have so many people waiting to buy from me.
Sure.
And so I have this huge lawsuit. And I literally remember going to the lawyer, okay? And I went to pay him cash and he literally freaking scanned every bill.
Wow.
Because he thought I was laundering money on top. Like, he didn't trust it, you know? He was like, I just got to be safe. So anyways, he scanned those bills. I paid him, a handsome fee to take care of it.
Sure.
But he settled it for us. And I signed an agreement, like I would never do that again. Their product.
Sure.
But then at that point, I was already money hungry. I was not a Christian at this time either. Spiritual, if you will, like knew something was there, but just kind of seeking.
Yeah.
So anyways, I signed it. But then at that point, I had like access to anything I wanted. And I was like a big buyer.
Sure.
So, I'd get all these random emails about new things to buy. But I was just like, man, I don't feel like this is right. Like spiritual, like starting to get kind of convicted, like something is not, like I was making a lot of cash, but I'm like, something isn't right. So my dad passed away, the person who I'd wanted to make proud. And then at that point, it was like God came for me hard. So I'm from Texas, like I mentioned, and in Houston, they have this station called KSBJ. It's a radio station, and they do a sticky note challenge. Okay. I had, and it's just, you're supposed to write on a sticky note, like God loves you or a psalm or something. Cool. I had like 3 to 4 sticky notes in the matter of 10 days. So my dad passed, and then I find these like weird notes my dad left. And they're kind of like God-esque notes, So I was like, oh, he was into this? Like, he never showed it. I mean, I literally one day came home wearing cross earrings. He's Jewish. And he was like, get those out of your
wow.
Like he never, I mean, we knew of God in some direction, but point being, so dad passed, I had finished this lawsuit, and I had a choice because my choice was like, I had people who wanted to have more shops down on Harwin from me. And if you're watching and at all from Houston know about Harwin, you will know I was probably the only white person on Harwin, like only one, with a shop on top of it. So, anyways, what ended up happening was I knew immediately I needed to end my relationship, which was an abusive relationship as well. Like, I was convicted. I knew, like, no more. Sure. And the whole reason I stayed was because we had an uber successful business together. Sure. So we really crushed it in the marketplace. So I immediately was like, nope, closing the door to the business. I'm closing the door to selling any type of replica. I mean, I would cut it in with authentics. I thought I was slick, like on my showroom floor, but I stopped it all. And when I stopped it all, of course, I had all these people constantly texting me, like, I'll pay you double.
Sure.
Please just get it for me. This was like, the internet, of course, was around, but this was like 10-ish years ago when if you knew how to like data mine and be a little better on the internet, you could,
sure.
I don't want to say take advantage of those who don't, but I was helping the people who couldn't find these things. So I closed all that off. I stopped it. I did not work for 6 to 8 months at all. And I was just like, look, at this time I found Christ. Those sticky notes were all over my cars. I would tell my friends and they're like, you really need to make sure no one's following you or stalking you. Like, it was so crazy. And I'm born and raised there. Never did that happen before. And this has been going on for years. After that, I'm a clinical nutritionist now. I mean, I read labs, which is something that I'm so proud of. I mean, secretly, because like that feels really good, knowing that A, I make an honest day's income, B, like I work really hard for it, but I'm also taking care of people at the same time. And I honestly like looked at myself as someone who might not ever have that. And even to honestly give you like generational history, my dad was a bookie. Like, it was in my realm for our family to kind of have a little shady business doings, So me being like the first one to get educated and then to like take this step and to learn labs and then to find a niche for myself like this. So I've had this business now like live and running 3 years.
Wow.
But God has blessed it beyond means. I mean, it's all word of mouth referral. We work with some people on Instagram, who are patients and share, but I'm making the same kind of money I made selling replicas at this point, but doing it real and authentic. So, and it's not perfect.
Sure.
Each step of the way I mess up, hire the wrong person, get in sin, do the wrong choice, but redirect. So yeah, that's actually how I got here.
So
you didn't even know that about me.
No, but great to learn. What would you say to someone who, is chasing money and thinking that's going to be it, like that's going to fulfill me, and you being there and realizing money is not it, like it's empty, and how has God shaped your purpose within your business now to see, and now the money's there, it's not that it's not, but God's provided and shown you a new way, right? A different way of doing things.
Yeah. I would just say you would be shocked what happens when you draw the line and say no to the money. And I'm talking like close the door completely, because it will put you at $0 income. And you're going to be like myself, like tiptoeing the line for 4 to 6 months, thinking, how could I do this? How am I going to pay this? Am I going to keep this car? Am I going to have this lifestyle? In my world, can I go to Whole Foods and eat off the hot bar 4 times a week? Like, is that still going to be real? But I cannot tell you every time I've done that, how God has blown my world up. I mean, there was a distinct point, even before I started my own practice, I was working in this field in an educational role as a sales rep in the nutrition world. And I had worked hard, built my territory, making 6 figures at this point. Really proud of it. Worked so hard, started very low. But I closed the door to that because I knew in my spirit, I wasn't on a money chase in the beginning, but it got to the point where I was paid well, not doing a bunch for it anymore. And I just knew in my spirit, like, there's another level here. There's something else I believe God's calling me to. But the point is, I left that job because I knew. I mean, honestly, I was having quite a bit of dreams that were like alarming to me about just feeling I needed to maybe make a change in my life. But I decided to leave that rep job. And that, I believe, I would never have started Wow Nutrition. I would have never gotten this specific new direction because I've morphed my practice to be my own thing, my own vibe. But I would say, like, don't hold back. Just do it. Take the risk, because I believe God blesses us massively. And you're never going to know what that looks like if you don't take the risk, if you do not stop it and just see what happens.
Yeah, we were interviewing Josh earlier, and he talked about the confidence he has moving forward, knowing that as he's doing things the way he believes God's leading him, he has that confidence. He has the backing because he trusts that God is leading him. And I think that's a great encouragement and exhortation to say, go as you believe God's leading you, go. Without that, you're kind of just piecing it together. But I think when we partner with God and trust him with our faith and our business, who knows? I mean, sky's the limit, right? And that's what I love about Inspire Collective is, like, yes, it's a business network. And yes, we get to exchange business cards and talk to people about, but really there's a element within there with integrity and with like-minded professionals who are trying to do amazing things, impact, change, influence, doing something beyond just ourselves. And so would you share a little bit about how Inspire Collective has impacted you and maybe your experience with Inspire Collective and your business?
I moved to Hawaii 3 years ago. And when I first moved here, I knew I wanted, obviously, to make friends, right? Like, you just want to meet people. So immediately I was like, okay, I'm going to check the boxes, like find a workout place, find a church, I didn't think a business network though. I'm virtual. I'm like, whatever, most of my patients are in the mainland. It doesn't matter. So, but the Inspire Collective, immediately upon meeting it, how did I get introduced? I'm just trying to think, because first I met Pastor Jew, who just like took me in and was like, do this, meet this person, go here. But
Pastor Jew. Okay.
That's Pastor. Yeah. She's like this, that, this. And before I knew it, but it was a business insights lunch, which is where we it's like a lunch and learn style. Like someone's teaching you, you're getting food, then you kind of just talk with people before and after. But the way it's really helped my business at the most basic level is it's given me the confidence to know that, like, I belong. And truthfully, like, at first I was feeling so lonely. I'm like, I don't even know if I fit in right here. Like, just searching for friends and feeling like choosing things just to get a friend almost, instead of being authentically interested in something. But with the collective, it was totally different. I just loved it. Like, the education's on point. It's very quality. And it's not like one of these kind of, this is through my filters, okay? But like a sleazy networking place where like people are going to have drinks and then you're just going to be like, am I going to get hit on? Or am I going to have to like hardcore sell stuff to be here? And I never have to ever sell. Like, people sell for me that have experienced my service or have heard something about me, and never once do I have to do any of that. It's just like people are interested by how you are. And I've honestly made some of my best friends here through Collective, just organically. And then the last thing is like, kind of like who you're around, right? Like those 5 people, if you will, really determine your trajectory, what's coming in your mind at a frequent basis. So being involved, I just feel like it always pulls me a little higher.
Yeah.
Like you'll hear a message or will be at a training, or a leader will just say one thing, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to show up like that, or I want that next level, or I want to learn how to build a team just today. Yeah. Like, I'm going to have lunch with an awesome woman who's going to pour into me to help me understand how to grow my team now.
Wow.
Yeah. I could have paid a business coach for that, truthfully.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. It's so important. You know, and depending on the circles we're in, it does really determine to some degree the levels that you can rise to. And I want to encourage you, maybe you're feeling stuck where you evaluate your circle and you realize, man, I've kind of been in the same place or same rut for a while. And maybe that's just been your thing, but God's kind of tugging on your heart to step out and go find a new community. Maybe it's a business community. Maybe it's a mom's community. Maybe it's a gym. I don't know what it is, but you might feel a tug to say, I need to step out and elevate my thinking, elevate the people around me. And maybe you're not here on island. You can't join us in Inspire Collective, but maybe there's going to be an Inspire Collective near you, or you just find a community. But what we want to encourage is step out, because one, God's got your back. And two, you never are going to know unless you take that step to the step of faith to elevate, and you're not going to do it on your own. We're just human nature. We're going to come back to what we're used to until we rise up above that and get around other people who challenge us and give us more. Oh, I could do that. Oh yeah. And then we have encouragement. And so something like Inspire Collective, find that in your area, find that place where you can find community, where someone's going to challenge you in your faith, in your business, if you have one, in your fitness and all the areas, family, marriage. Like, we need those kind of people. And so I want to encourage you to do what Stephanie did, because she drew the line many times when she just knew in her heart it wasn't quite right, but God was leading her in a different direction. And some of us are here knowing that there's a tug to do something different. You need to do it. Just trust God and move in faith that God's got your back, and he's going to move you forward if you close the door completely. Don't leave it slightly open. You got to close it completely. But as you do that, God is faithful and he will bless your life tremendously. So I want to encourage you to do that. Any last thoughts for our audience on business, your journey, Inspire Collective, that you'd want to share with us?
Yeah, I would just say to trust yourself. Trust yourself. Anytime that you know internally that something you're dabbling in is wrong, 9 times out of 10, you're right. Just trust yourself. And I can't tell you, like, walking through the door, even of coming to this network, anywhere, walking through the door of a new church, walking through the door of a marriage group, whatever it is local to you, like, you will not know unless you take that step. Like, I am a YouTube fanatic, but if all we do is just sit on YouTube and watch people all day long, when you see those people out there and you get pumped up and you're like, man, that is so motivational. That's so freaking great. Like, I wish, like, how do I get there? Yeah. Like, I'm a huge UFC fan. I watch Israel Adesanya and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love you. You're phenomenal. But point being, like, he had an amazing message from the octagon after he won at a quick little knockout too, 3-time losing to this guy, by the way, and just came back. But it's like, you'll never feel these feelings. You'll never feel these things if you don't try. Like, if you don't, you got to risk it. You got to step out in faith and try it. Worst thing that's going to happen, it won't go your way. However, you will never know if you don't try. Best thing, you start to learn things by doing that. Like, oh yeah, that wasn't for me. So now I know. Yeah. You're not second guessing any longer.
That's great. And the beauty of this is God actually puts his Holy Spirit. When we accept him into our lives, we have the Holy Spirit. So you might, before, I trusted myself and it didn't work out. Well, now that you follow Christ, you have a helper that's going to help you take a step to trust, to be able to trust yourself, because you're trusting in the Lord. As you trust God and trust yourself, you're going to see things. If you step in faith, though, God can't do it for you. You have to physically step into that. But as you do, we believe that God's going to bless your life, bless your business, bless your family, whatever you're endeavoring to grow in and transform and see change. I believe it can happen. Stephanie's a live testimony of that. And I just want to thank you for joining us on Inspire Collective and our piece today.
Absolutely.